rakan-rakan lah yang saya kasih sekalian yang dapat meluangkan masa pada petang ini. So sebelum kita mulakan sesi ini, mungkin saya serba sedikit saya perkenalkan dulu panel jemputan kita. Prof Datin Ruzy Suliza Hashim merupakan Professor of Literature di Pusat Kajian Bahasa dan Linguistik Fakulti Sains Sosial dan Kemanusiaan Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Pada masa ini beliau merupakan pengarah penerbit UKM. Ya betul ya Prof ya? Beliau telah dilantik sebagai Ketua Kluster Societal Harmony and Happiness iaitu kebahagiaan dan keharmonian masyarakat oleh BPKI Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi. Prof Ruzy juga sebenarnya berpengalaman sebagai penilai FRGS lebih kurang selama 15 tahun ya?
Ya.
Lama tu pengalaman tu. Itu yang kita nak minta beliau kongsikan dengan kita semua pada petang ini. Okey, beliau juga sebenarnya merupakan College Member of UK Research and Innovation Council yang mana beliau turut terlibat secara aktif menilai geran-geran UK ini dari semasa ke semasa. So saya ingatkan kita pun dah ramai partisipan pada petang ini. So tanpa membuang masa saya menjemput Prof Ruzy. Silakan Prof.
Okey, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Terima kasih kepada pihak UPSI kerana menjemput saya ke sini. Saya dah tidak bekerja di RMC UKM lagi tetapi saya masih aktif di KPT. Sebenarnya saya minta buat petang sebab pagi patutnya ada taklimat untuk FRGS tahun depan. Tetapi dia ditunda untuk esok pula. Jadi kalau apa-apa maklumat mengenai FRGS yang saya dapat daripada KPT esok, saya akan maklumkan kepada pengarah RMC. Boleh?
Boleh Prof. Boleh.
Jadi saya nak macam buat caveat lah bahawa yang saya bentang ni merupakan maklumat yang saya dapat tahun lepas. Jadi untuk tahun ini, untuk tahun depan punya yang akan dibuka saya rasa sekitar bulan Januari.
Betul.
Belum ada, saya rasa tak banyak penambahbaikan lah. Cuma mungkin sikit-sikit yang saya akan maklumkan lah bila dapat maklumat esok. Ya? Yeah?
Okey Prof.
Okey, saya present, saya share. Saya jarang guna apa ni Webex ni, saya biasa Zoom ataupun Google Meet. Mana nak share dia?
Ada button bawah share Prof.
Share. Okay. Okay, so now I'm sharing my screen. Okay, hang on. Nampak tak?
Nampak dah starting to share tapi belum nampak lagi dia punya view slide. Prof kena klik yang dekat bahagian slide tu. Pilih kan yang mana satu tu.
Bahagian slide. Saya dah letak dekat saya punya desktop. Sekarang ni saya nampak share screen.
Okey.
Sekejap ya.
Bila kita klik share tu nanti dia minta kita klik dekat share yang mana yang kita nak tu.
Dia kata share. Tadi dah share screen. Screen dah share.
Okey.
Kena klik.
Sekejap. Nampak tak? Boleh nampak screen saya?
Belum lagi.
Okay, that's strange. Okay, sekejap. Saya stop sharing, saya start balik ya. Sorry.
Okay.
Tapi dalam instructions ni dia kata I'm sharing my screen. Hang on.
Nampak kat situ dah starting sharing screen.
Okay, share. Okay, so now I share screen ya. So I share my PowerPoint.
Share, lepas tu klik je kat PowerPoint tu.
Okay, alright. Okay. Screen. Boleh tak nampak sekarang?
Belum lagi, Prof.
Saya dah.
Okay, klik share. Lepas tu nanti bila kita klik share, dia ada banyak folder yang kita nak share yang mana. Just klik share dekat yang PowerPoint.
Dia tulis ni, you are sharing Microsoft PowerPoint. Dia tulis dekat saya, dekat notes.
Yeah.
Tapi you tak nampak
Okey, kejap ya, saya minta tolong dia orang.
Nampak tak?
Belum lagi, Prof. Okey, okey pula, dah nampak dah. Okey.
Nampak dah? Okay.
Dah. Alhamdulillah.
Alright. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, tips for winning FRGS proposals. Seperti saya katakan tadi, ini maklumat untuk tahun 2020. Jadi 2021 mungkin ada sedikit penambahbaikan tapi saya akan maklumkan kemudian lah. Okay, pengenalan dan skop. So ini ceramah ni dia macam campur-campur sebab saya ambil kebanyakan slides ni daripada KPT. Okay, saya dah minta kebenaran untuk share dengan UPSI. Tapi ada juga yang saya masukkan sendirilah. Saya ada mana yang Melayu tu saya rasa UPSI punya. Okay, sorry. Yang Melayu tu KPT punya. Okay, mula-mula tujuan falsafah FRGS. Okay, untuk FRGS ni kita dah capai tahap yang ketiga iaitu dia mula untuk membudayakan, kemudian untuk melonjakkan. Sekarang ni kita go one step further. Jadi saya rasa untuk FRGS 2021 ni mungkin lebih mencabar output yang dimohonlah daripada penyelidik. Tujuan FRGS ini ialah untuk melonjakkan penjanaan teori, konsep dan idea baru yang dapat menjadi pemangkin kepada penemuan baru yang menerobos sempadan ilmu dan penciptaan inovatif. So maksud ni sangat penting sebab dia mesti penjanaan teori, konsep dan idea baru. Jadi kalau kita daripada pengalaman saya menilai grant, kadang-kadang bila dia kata dia nak pinjam teori mana-mana, maknanya itu kita tidak menjana teori kita. Jadi penjanaan teori itu atau idea baru tu mesti idea baru di Malaysia. Okey, jadi itu sangat penting untuk kita fahami tujuan itu. Jadi kadang-kadang kebanyakan ni lah bila yang tak dapat tu sebab mereka tidak menunjukkan penyelidikan fundamental. Maknanya mereka tidak menjana teori, konsep atau idea yang baru. Dia kena break new frontiers lah, menerobos sempadan ilmu. At least menerobos sempadan ilmu di Malaysia. Okay? Jadi untuk sesiapa yang ingin memohon untuk FRGS, saya rasa patut membaca, saya rasa mesti membaca garis panduan skim ini yang boleh di-download daripada laman web KPT ya. Baca dulu sebab itu ada kadang-kadang proposal bagus tetapi tidak menepati garis panduan jadi dia kira TKO, technical knockout. Ada ramai juga yang dapat technical knockout ya. Jadi garis panduan itu perlu difahami dan diikuti semasa membuat permohonan. Okay, what does fundamental mean? Kalau kita tengok gambar ni tadi kita tengok you have to be different. Maknanya ada that yellow figure. So produce an idea, theory, concept, method, model, new process, or improve an existing policy, methodology, model solution, encompass human and societal issues which improve values nationally or globally, dan contribute to the nation's strategic agenda. Jadi, ciri-ciri ni if you can, you must try and fulfill if you're going to apply. Have a chance of getting Okay, kita tengok samaan penyelidikan 2020 yang NPS ni memang adalah kita tak boleh tukar sebab ini yang diletakkan oleh MOSTI. Jadi kalau saya tengok food security, energy security, plantation crops, cyber security, water security, biodiversity, healthcare and medicine, environment and climate change, transportation and mobility. Kita tengok macam saya social science, saya kata saya tak nampak saya di mana-mana ni. Tapi dalam kita kena tick NPA tu. Jadi saya dah lama komunikasi bahawa orang sastra, orang education tu ada dalam NPA. Jadi kita pandai-pandai sendiri lasik mana-mana yang saya penilai yang social science kurang melihat kepada NPA ni. Tapi sekiranya tuan-puan boleh fit into one of these areas, that will be very good. Okay. Cluster di KPM saya rasa tak berubah. Social and economic well-being, food safety and security, infrastructure, climate change and environment, health, education and knowledgeable civil society, national security, frontier technologies and advanced manufacturing. Jadi berada di social dan economic well-being. Okay. Dan saya rasa tuan-puan berada di sinilah, education and knowledgeable civil society. Prof Ramli, saya rasa kenal Prof Ramli kan? Beliau memang dulu jadi ketua untuk FRGS tahun 2020 untuk kluster yang ini. Research domains, pure and applied science, technology engineering, social science, information and communication technology, clinical and health science, arts and applied arts, natural and cultural heritage. Jadi saya kadang-kadang saya mengetuai arts and applied arts. Tengok saya kadang-kadang Prof Rashid daripada USM yang mengetuai arts and applied arts. Okay. So education terletak bawah arts and applied arts lah. Okay, mula-mula dia melihat pada quality of the proposal. The measures for good quality proposals are informative title, convincing executive summary, clear problem statement and objective, scientific background and rationale, good selection of research methods, ethical considerations and realistic budget and schedule. Jadi yang title ni biasanya kalau boleh buat one line title, tak ada yang colon tu, sebab kalau colon tu kadang-kadang panjang, dia tak boleh melebihi 15 patah perkataan. Dan kalau boleh dan sepatutnya title tu terus, daripada title tu terus melambangkan isu fundamental. Okay, kalau ada title yang kata aplikasi something, kalau guna perkataan aplikasi sahaja, terus kena reject. Okay, jadi saya hendak tuan-puan bila meletak title tu sila berhati-hatilah. Maknanya tengok sama ada title tu terus membuatkan penilai kata, oh ini memang isu fundamental. Itu maknanya ia merupakan idea baru, model baru, semua barulah. Dia menerus sempadan ilmu. Okay. Convincing, saya akan go through one by one apa makna setiap satu ni, tapi kita akan melihat normally pada title kita dah tahu sama ada penilai biasanya tahu bahawa sama ada ia isu fundamental atau applied. Tetapi kemudian kita akan lihat kepada executive summary, dan kalau tuan-puan tengok borang executive summary, borang FRGS, executive summary tu dia ada rubrik dia. Jadi saya rasa rubrik itu perkataan tu patut diletakkan dalam executive summary tuan-puan. Okay, saya go through the next one. Okay, yang ni saya kata. Title should be clear. It should not show an application of a theory, framework or borrowing from anything. Dan bagus kalau conveys an important national agenda. Okay, jadi sebab bila kita tengok borang penilaian, kalau saya tak tahu sama ada tuan-puan pernah menilai FRGS secara dalaman, borang tu kata nanti title, dia akan ada kolom title. Dia akan tanya untuk evaluate, penilai kena letak, is the title specific in nature, reflecting fundamental issues to be resolved, or does it have novelty? Jadi pada title saja, kalau kita letak pangkah untuk title, kira dah fail the whole proposal. Sebab satu pangkah, maknanya kita kena bagi markah bawah pada 5. Kalau anda dapat bawah 5 untuk mana-mana kategori, terus kira gagal lah, maknanya sebab tak boleh markah lebih kurang pada 5 untuk mana-mana section. Okay. So ada 2 kriteria yang dilihat untuk tajuk tuan-puan, iaitu sama ada ia spesifik yang menggambarkan fundamental issues, dan adakah ia brief and reflects the content of the proposal. Jadi title tu maknanya mesti ada keyword yang yang menunjukkan the focus of your proposal, of your research. Okay, jadi kalau title tu tajuk title tu tak ada perkataan dalam tu yang melambangkan tujuan research, mungkin akan dinilai dengan markah yang rendah and therefore you fail at the title level. Okay. Executive summary, dia maximum 300 words. Jadi sistem akan capture lah. Kalau lepas 300 words dia akan warna merah. So kalau warna merah, please make it, jangan bagi warna merah, sebab kalau warna merah kita terus TKO, technical knockout. Okay. So dalam executive summary tu dia dah menyatakan dia nak tengok problem statement, objectives, research method, research methodology, expected output, outcomes, implications and significance of output from the research project. Jadi dia dalam satu paragraf mesti menyatakan. Jadi saya nak nasihatkan bahawa and normally in the statement problem you don't quote anybody. Okay, tak ada quotation from somebody, whoever stated something. Dia tak ada. Dia just what is the gap you are filling in, how are you going to reach, how are you going to fulfill your research through your objectives, methodology kena strong, lepas tu expected output. The expected output is not only papers. You cannot say macam umpamanya not just publications, tapi mesti ada implication for the society. Even though it's fundamental, but it must be related to societal impact. And significance of output from the research project. Jadi problem statement tu kena, sebab 300 words, jadi tak banyak yang boleh ditulis. Jadi kena concise lah, concise description of an issue to be addressed. Objektif mesti SMART. SMART maknanya specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and within time frame. Okay. Workable and clear methodology. Umpamanya kalau kita kata we are going to do survey. They want to know, it's not enough to say I want to do a survey, but survey of how many people, what's the location, subjects dia siapa. So you have to be very clear from there on. Let's say you kata you punya mixed methodology, maknanya you nak buat kualitatif dan kuantitatif. So kualitatif tu makna apa? You nak buat focus group interview. With who? With rural urban divide or age group, male female punya participants. So kalau macam kata nak buat nak tengok classroom observation, you must state where is the location of your experiment, where is the location of the schools, for example. So bila dia nak tengok methodology ni is very clear, because whatever methodology you have decided on, it will affect your budget. Okay, maknanya kalau you kata you nak buat 500 survey of 500 people, nanti you will calculate 500 ni will cost you how much. Let's say you going to 10 locations in Malaysia, termasuk Sabah Sarawak. So the 10 locations tu nanti will be clear, will be seen from your budget. Okay. Then clear deliverables, as I said, kena ada macam publication tu, ialah is a given in all research. For FRGS kena ada 2 index journals. Tapi juga untuk tunjuk societal impact. Okay, whether local societal impact or global, and contribute to an important agenda. Okay. Kemudian research background. Lepas tu research background, jadi research background tu including problem statement, hypothesis, research questions, literature reviews, related references and relevance to government policy. Ini rubrik yang dinyatakan dalam borang itu. Okay. So how are you evaluated for this research? How you write the research background will be evaluated based on this. do you elaborate the title in your research background? Umpamanya you say something, you know, you have a title, you must say the title is important because of what? No, what is the title about? So the elaboration of title must be written in the research background. Clarity of problem statement and research questions. So the statement tu in your previous section is very short, but here you will expand it further. Okay. Research questions is also included here. Most recent and relevant references. So saya nak advise don't self-cite too much, because if you cite yourself like there are 20 references, 10 of it belong to your own work, then they will say you've done so much work, what else do you want to do? Okay. But they also want to look at the most recent. So kalau you tengok, let's say you've got 10 references, maybe 50% should be 5 years in the previous 5 years. Okay, untuk 5 tahun kebelakangan. Tak boleh kalau you're applying for 2021 and your references mostly cite works in 2001 or 2002, 2003. They would want to see if for next year's application, they want to see 2016 onwards. Okay, they are really stressing because there is this box in the evaluation sheet. Let's say dia kata itu recent citations. Kalau kita taruh cross terus, you fail the whole section. You fail one section, you fail the whole proposal. Okay, so it's really important for your proposal. You must try and get your weight that you are marked from 1 to 10, and you must get at least 8 above. So for each section you must get 8 above, because biasanya the passing rate for the success rate for FRGS is around 20 to 30% mostly. You can ask, I'm not sure about UPSI, berapa your success rate. UKM is about 50%. But it's because of this, you know, we just get one low mark for one section and that's it, you're gone. Okay, so it's very important to do well in every section. And then they say in line with government policy, national agenda and global aspiration. So whatever you do, kita tak boleh shock sendiri. Kita mesti make sure that is relevant to government policy, relevant with national agenda and relevant with global aspiration. Okay, so there are lots of things to think about. It's can be quite depressing. Right. Objectives must be written in measurable verbs, and I know you're all lecturers from teaching university. So you know the meaning of measurable verbs. So kita guna Bloom taxonomy, guna SMART, and must relate to the problem or research question. And as far as possible, do not put your objectives when you turn them into research questions. They say like, does this method show through this method will the student show improvement? Maknanya kita jawab yes or no. So they do not want yes or no kind of objectives and questions. Okay, they would want something that will you show you problematize the statement or the objective, so that dia ada banyak complexity yang perlu dilihat. Okay, methodology. Seperti saya katakan tadi, you have to have all these, you kena upload charts, like flow chart, Gantt chart. I think milestones in there, Gantt charts in there, tapi flow chart macam how will your what's the flow chart of your research activities daripada and you go to some you can either use the chart yang dalam PowerPoint tu, or go to some template yang shows the flowchart that is done quite nicely. Okay, so for methodology, this is how you're going to evaluate it. Dalam evaluation tu, that means you are evaluated 1, 2, 3. I think 3 boxes. Clear and detailed description of the methodology. Maknanya, as I said earlier, you cannot say I want to do a survey. it's too short for the evaluator to know survey to who are your target audience, where are you going to have it, what's your sampling technique, and so on. So please be detailed in your methodology. And then we will evaluate whether through your methodology you can achieve your objectives. And you need to include the research design lah, flowchart and so on. So if you fail to do any one of this, then of course your marks will drop and that's it. Okay? Right. Expected results. So these are the expected results. New novel theories. What is cutting edge? They want cutting edge. Okay. New findings, knowledge, research publications, specific or potential applications, number of PhD and masters, impact on society, economy, and nation. So if you can, when you put the expected results, you must itemize lah novel theories. What do you think you will get? How many will you promise for your research publication? Where would this be applied? What potential applications will your research have? So the evaluation tu, you'll be evaluated this way. New theory, so maknanya they have one section new theory, publication apa dia, or intellectual property, human capital, and then they will also look at impact. Okay, so you're going to be assessed on these 4 criteria. Now, I'd like to remind you, if you're applying, normally people put 2 years for PhD, when they apply for FRGS. When you apply for 2 years, you get your talent, you will get a 1 master student. Okay? Jangan tulis 2, 3. When you put 2 master student or 3 master students, that means when you calculate your budget, you will, 1 master student, I think now is 2,000. I think they have revised it with the 2000 ke 2003. I cannot remember offhand. Tapi let's say you say you have 3 master students, you can times 3 times 2003 over 2 years, So that means your budget for salary is really inflated. And I want to advise you, when you apply for, when you put, let's say you apply for 2 years, you put 1 MA. I want you, if you can, you should put in the whole 24 years. I know some people want to save money and say, oh, I will choose for 1 year. For year 1, I'll put 6 months. For year 2, I put another 6 months. That means you only have your research students for 12 months in total. Because normally we never reduce the amount you request for GRA. Okay, you ask for 2 years, we give you for 2 years. You ask for 3 years, we give you 3 years. If let's say you apply for PhD FRGS for 3 years, which is possible, then your output must be 1 PhD. Okay, 1 PhD. And so you cannot put for, let's say you minta for 3 years, you put there 1 PhD, 1 masters, which is quite possible. So that means, but when you calculate your salary, you must calculate for 1 PhD and 1 masters. Okay, and they may probably just give you 1 because money is limited. So I suggest you just choose either masters or PhD, but ask for the whole amount. 3 years, ask for all the 36 months. 1 masters, ask for 24 months. Don't ask 3 months here, 3 months there. You will lose because no students want to work 3 months and then be without money for the next 9 months. Okay, if they want to work with you, they want to have money throughout the 2 years. Okay. Right. Okay, track record and composition of team. So, and we look at the track record when you fill in your migrants. You need to fill in your publications, your research, and so on. So we'll go to that migrant, the profile of your migrant, and we will check. So please update your profile. If let's say you have not applied for 5 years, you've left your profile in the system outdated, then we will look at your track record. We say, oh, you've not done anything, you've not published anything, because migrants is not it's not linked to Google Scholar or or to Clarivate Analytics. If it is linked, then it's okay, because then the system will update itself. But we need to put in the data. So you need to go to migrants and complete everything, so that when we check your track record, okay, you know, because you have poor track record, then even if your publication is good, most likely you'll be in the KIV list, and then most likely you won't get it. Okay, and normally we want well-balanced team. Maknanya if let's say you are an associate professor, maybe you have a young career person in your team. You know, you cannot have all professors in the team or all associate professors, because then you're not training anybody younger in your university perhaps. Okay, so and there should be 2 more people besides the PI, the investigator, the principal investigator. There should be 2 more people there. They do not like just one person, because if let's say something's wrong with that person or with the PI, then one person is left, you know. So have the PI plus at least 2 more people. Okay, but they do not want 10 people in the team either. So it has to be quite balanced. 4 or 5 should be fine. All right. Quality of proposal, you must be meticulous. Try and look at the way the presentation is important. Sometimes when people see that it's badly written, or too many grammar errors, too many spelling errors in English or Malay, and the formatting is all over the place, then that's a reason for rejection. Okay. Okay, elements of FRGS. So elements it must be novel, cutting edge, high impact. I know it's a lot to ask for, but this is the requirement of FRGS. Okay. Right. So what is the research deliverables? Okay. This could be some of your deliverables. I mean, if you have kit or diagnostic system, database, new plant variant, equipment, instrument, policy paper, framework, this would be considered as something that is novel or cutting edge. You know, you've got a kit. Let's say now, you know, now with say COVID-19, although it's hard, let's say Singapore NUS apparently can, you know, instead of having the instrument poked into your nose, instead of being poked into your nose, now through breathing you can detect COVID-19. So that's really novel. Okay, so if you could, so these are some things you could okay. So these are some things that would be considered as novelty that you could and therefore if it's then therefore they should feature in the title. Diagnostic tool for say COVID-19, for example, then wow. Okay. Scholarly output, postgraduate, research publication, or intellectual property. So if you think you can have a patent or a copyright, then that's something that's that reviewers will look for, and will look at your proposal, you know, in a more sympathetic way, because you have all the things, you fit in all the box, you check in all the box. Okay, so the impact must be, they call it, okay, this is what do you call it? Now it's actually quintuplex, meaning there should be 5. previously it used to be for society, industry, academia, and government. So if your research could help the society or industry or academia or government, that's good. But now also there's another one, but I think there's no diagram. If it impacts the environment, that's the fifth pillar of impact, then they'll be very good. Okay. So another one is environment that I forgot to put in. Okay. Okay, one second, moving. What does it mean by I can annotate? Oh, okay. Okay, how do I move? Just now I could just move the slide, but now I seem to have a difficulty.
Tak boleh, Prof.
Tak boleh. Because just now I said
Kami,
annotate, but now I think I should remove that.
sekarang kami masih lagi dekat yang slide research deliverable.
Yeah, I can't seem to move.
Yeah.
So, pasal lah. That's strange. Boleh tak remove your sharing? Okay. Tadi, okay. Where am I? Okay, I'm wondering whether I skip one slide or not. Okay, now you have to ada bukti carian pattern, which is important. Walaupun dia sebenarnya wajib untuk FRGS dengan FRGS, dan untuk F dia macam dia kata digalakkan. Tapi galakan ni carian pattern, industrial collaboration and SWOT risk analysis, dia beri 5 markah percuma if you have those things. So I suggest you try and do all this anyway, because if let's say you get 80 marks, but you get extra 5 if you fulfill this in, and maybe let's say the cutting off point is 85, then you just fall into pemohon yang diterima untuk diberikan dana. You see what I mean? So I don't know how many of you did the patent search for last year's application, where you have to look at lens.org and you need to write a little paragraph to say in what way your search ni is, let's say you want to do a kit, and when you check the patent, there's so many people having the same kit, then that means there's nothing novel about your kit. Okay, but let's say the kit is ada something macam you have this halal parameter to your kit that other 20 kits don't have, then you say in your analysis that there are 20 kits available but the halal feature is absent. Okay, so then that becomes a winning point for you. All right, so I would like to recommend for all of you to go to do a patent search and to write your paragraph of why it is relevant, why your research is novel, or why is it cutting edge. Because even when you look at this website, it shows that the kit has not been done, or if it has been done, you have some added feature that will make it unique. Okay. All right. So okay. Another one is kolaborasi bersama industri. Yang ni pun dia kata digalakkan. Tapi ini dapat 2 markah percuma jika ada. So I suggest whatever extra marks you can acquire, you try and acquire those marks. So for this, you need evidence that you have talked to an industrial collaborator. So normally it's like this. You would write to the collaborator and the curator would write back to you to say, I'm aware of your research and I'm happy to collaborate with you on this, and I can provide what? For example, I can provide I can provide uh, knowledge background. There's something that person can provide. If the person can give money, that's well and good. But if they cannot, then it's just the intention of working together. Okay? So it can even be an email. Doesn't have to be proper letter, but an email is okay. But probably with the designation of the person, whether that person is the managing director or whoever, right? So I would recommend you to fulfill this part as well. Next one. Okay, the third one is a risk analysis. So you need to do the SWOT analysis where you could look at your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the opportunities, what are the threats. So then for technical, you have to put in whether for technical, let's say, do you need to use machines? Let's say machines are not available at your lab, or the infrastructure is not available at your lab, and you need to use another person's lab or another person's instrument. Now, is the risk low, medium, or high? So you need to timing. Let's say now COVID. So are you able to go and meet people or interview people or meet students, and budget? Okay, so once you have written all this, then you need to describe what are the risk assessment for your project. Let's say you say the pandemic is going to be a problem. For next year, I think it's going to be a big problem. Or some other things, so you put in the risk assessment and then you evaluate accordingly. Okay. Okay, next. Right. Okay, so this is the this is for permakahan. You need carian pattern digalakkan. Okay, 3 cara yang ada digalakkan sekiranya ketua penyidik mengemukakan maklumat tersebut, markah tambahan akan diberikan. Sekiranya penilaian awal melebihi markah 75% dan ke atas. Okay, that means you have achieved scientific merit. So I would recommend that all of you, they may require a lot more work, especially for carian pattern and kolaborasi. So if you think, most people, I would suggest that you start looking for your collaborators now. For example, you cannot, let's say it's due tomorrow, and ask the collaborator letter today, it might not happen. So start thinking about your possible collaborators now, and you can go and check lens.org is an open source to check the whether whether they call it sunrise or sunset, meaning is it going to be something that's going to be highly going to be a hot item, or is it a dying thing? Is it something that's going to die very soon? Like it's no longer a hot topic. So the lens.org will give you an insight into whether it's going to be sunset or sunrise kind of research. Okay. Right, peraturan keuangan, these are the various votes, 1100, 2100, 2400, 2700, to 2800, 2900, 3500. So for GRAs, I said to you, you count every month. Okay, so let's say you're doing a 2-year project, count for 24 months. 3-year project, count for 36 months. Don't try and cut corners here, because out of all the other V series, normally they will not reduce your budget for V1100. Normally we'll tell you, okay, because sometimes without the GRA you cannot move, right? So we normally do not cut your allowance GRA. Okay. Perjalanan, okay. You are only allowed to go overseas in the 2nd year. you're not allowed to go anywhere in the first year except for to collect data. Okay. So your perjalanan first year will be to collect data. And when you put 2100 perjalanan, let's say, as I said to you just now, let's say your location of study is at 4 places. So you must include there. You cannot just put perjalanan one block. So perjalanan Penang, perjalanan Pahang, perjalanan Terengganu, perjalanan Sabah. You know, so everything must be itemized. They do not like to see perjalanan 20,000. Then you do not know what you're using it for. So they say, oh, 5,000 cukup. So they just give you 5,000 because they do not know what you're asking for. So you must itemize. Let's say you kata perjalanan tu, you want to go 2 orang. So you put there 2 orang. Then you got to work out minum, makan, hotel, all that. Okay, because if they do not know, they do not have the itemized perbelanjaan for 2,100, that's where they will say, oh, you don't need this amount of money, they just slash. Okay. Sewaan of rooms or sewaan, you know, like you want to do a bengkel you want to do a workshop, or you want to sewa a car, or you know, whatever. So you do under sewaan. Bekalan dan bahan penyelidikan, for this is normal, but now I think you're not allowed to buy paper. You know, last time 10 years ago you can buy paper, hard drive. Now you cannot. So you have to look at 2,700, what can you buy and what you cannot buy. Okay. Baik pulih, this is to do things you can repair. Alright. Perkhidmatan Ikhtisas, a lot of people put their vote here, but then you have to watch also, it cannot go beyond a certain ceiling, for example. For example, like perjalanan, it cannot be 40%, more than 40% or 30%, cannot remember offhand, but check, okay? Although the system will alert you, the system will turn red if you go beyond a certain ceiling, right? Perkhidmatan Ikhtisas, for example, you want to publish papers, you want your papers to be edited, it's all under perkhidmatan Ikhtisas. You want to pay honorarium, let's say you've got some pakar to come in to check whatever, to give you some advice, you can pay under 2,900. And then for accessory and peralatan, 35, this one is very difficult to spend, because if your work is not related to anything technical or technological, like you, then you cannot buy laptop or computer if it's not oriented towards, you know, data analytics, whatever, then they say you cannot buy. So I've seen a shift from few years ago. Now I see people put 0 for 3,500 because they know they cannot spend. Okay, for example, buying camera, buying recorder, all difficult to get. So if you need to, you must really put in your research detail why it's important. Okay, otherwise they will not give it. Right. Okay, this is the, you know, so for pelajar PhD 2003, pelajar Masters 1008, but I think this is the old thing we have revised. I do not know the real, but it's gone, it's a bit up, because right now I've got, I think my RA now is getting a bit more than 1,800. Okay, so for persidangan dalam negara, ketua projek, penyelidik bersama dan pembantu penyelidik dibenarkan untuk membuat secara lisan atau poster. Persidangan luar negara, tahun kedua ke atas sahaja, dan untuk ketua projek atau penyelidik bersama. So only one person can go. Okay, you cannot have 2 or 3 people going for persidangan luar negara. Sewaan, bangunan, peralatan, pengangkutan, penggunaan komputer, barangan lain. So if you want to have a laptop, then you have to sewa, I think. Then it will be okay. Okay. Bekalan, hanya perbelanjaan yang berkaitan dengan penyelidikan sahaja dibenarkan. Kos penyelenggaraan peralatan sedia ada semasa projek dilaksanakan adalah dibenarkan. Selepas projek selesai, tidak akan ditanggung oleh grant lagi. So sometimes we buy equipment, and if you need to repair the equipment after the project, then you cannot, okay, because it's only during the duration of the project. And then here, what's this under? This is under, cannot, okay. Perkhidmatan ikhtisas, lain-lain perkhidmatan termasuk yuran persidangan, okay. FRGS, okay, FRGS you cannot, because this is not FRGS. FRGS you're not allowed to go for persidangan. Cetakan, hospitality, honorarium, perkhidmatan profesional, konsultansi, pemprosesan data dan lain-lain perkhidmatan yang berkaitan dengan projek penyelidikan. Dan aksesori hanya pembelian peralatan khas dan aksesori termasuk meningkatkan keupayaan peralatan sedia ada. So let's say you got a desktop which needs to be upgraded, that one's okay. But to buy a new desktop, cannot. Okay? Right. Okay. Right. Penyelidik tidak dibenarkan untuk menggunakan peruntukan geran bagi pembuat pembelian yang tidak berkaitan secara langsung dengan projek penyelidikan. Pembelian tidak dibenarkan adalah seperti berikut. Pembayaran sebarang bentuk yuran keahlian badan profesional. Pembelian bahan rujukan, tak boleh. Pembelian peralatan ICT dan komunikasi seperti telefon, bimbit, komputer riba, pensil pencetak, cartridge tidak dibenarkan. Pembayaran bil utility. Pembelian peralatan pejabat, alat tulis, kertas, meja, kerusi, semua tak boleh. Pembelian peralatan storan seperti external hard disk, pendrive, CD sebagainya. Pembayaran sewaan ruang atau fasiliti di institusi masing-masing. So for example, you cannot pay for the rent of a room at your own university. Pembayaran pemfailan harta intelek dan seumpamanya untuk FRGS, FRGS sahaja. Tak boleh dibenarkan, okay? Lain-lain pembelian yang tidak berkaitan secara langsung dalam projek penyelidikan. So all this is not allowed. Okay. Right. So evaluators focus on these 4 C's: clarity, content, coherence of concepts, and cutting edge. Okay. How grant writers do cross-referencing of literature and patent in laying out their premises. How grant writers organize their ideas around aims linked to their hypothesis. How grant writers present coherent set of ideas predicated by previous work. Are grant writers ready to take legitimate risks? Okay, so ini merupakan sesuatu yang dilihat lah. So ini skala permakahan dia, maknanya you are evaluated from 1 to 10. 1 to 2 very poor, 3 to 4 poor, 5 to 6 acceptable, 7 to 8 good, 9 to 10 very good. So penilai kena menulis rasional untuk markah jika ia jatuh di bawah 5. So let's say we give you 1 to 2, 3 to 4, we need to say why. Tapi we give you 5 and above, we don't have to say anything. Maknanya is acceptable. But normally the cutting, because it's very competitive. Let's say kerajaan ada 100 million to give away, and let's say they have got berapa ribu permohonan, then they will calculate. For example, okay, for a research to be done well, maybe science you need 100,000. So if we cut off point is 7, we cannot give 100,000 each. We can probably give 50,000. So what kind of research is that? Right? So there are many things yang saya rasa di KPT diorang ada buat penilaian lah. Maknanya for a science research, this is the amount of money you need. For this amount of money, you probably can give to say 200 people. Now we want to give to 300 people, we have to give a lower amount of money, but can they do a good piece of research? So sometimes your research is good, but maybe there is not enough money to go around. Okay? So at the end is survival of the fittest. Maknanya the you are good, but there's somebody better who is more deserving of the grants. Right. So another important factor, I've talked about the importance of you as a researcher trying to fill in the form and what things you should be looking at. Now, I want to talk about the responsibility of the RMC itself. Okay, the RMC, it's important for the RMC to have this process of evaluation because prior to evaluation by various evaluators at KPT, they will have what they call penaziran, maknanya inspection. And for the penaziran, we'll go through all the universities yang submit yang ada submit permohonan, and we'll take kita check, mula kita check 10% of the applications. Kita tengok sama ada dia ikut tak, do they follow the process. Umpamanya after the applicant has submitted the form, what does the RMC do with the form? So is it evaluated? If it's evaluated, what happens to that evaluation? You know, because sometimes and the RMC must train the evaluators. Maknanya janganlah semua good ataupun janganlah semua bad, because when you give everything bad, the researcher is disheartened and will not do any revision and will just forget about submitting. So that's bad as well. You know, you have caused you have reduced the motivation of the researcher. But on the one hand, if everything is good, whereas when the evaluator looks at the evaluates project and sees a lot of things that ought to have been alerted by the internal reviewer, maknanya some internal evaluation has not been done well. Okay, so first thing is the internal evaluation must be trained so that he or she can look at the form and can evaluate it properly and give comments. Maknanya bila dia give comments, because some evaluators kadang-kadang diorang if the RMC has not trained the evaluator, sometimes diorang kata they will put problems with them. I mean, there are things that the applicant must correct. But then instead of saying resubmit, the evaluator put submit. Bila evaluator taruh submit, the applicant cannot look at what are the things he or she needs to fix. Okay? Then at the RMC level, kalau RMC tak prihatin, dia pun submit they terus submit to the KPT. So then at KPT, the evaluators will check and say, there's so many corrections that are not done. So so they will check, they will check the first 10%. Oh, ada cases of this. Then they check the another 20%, and they might check the entire cohort of applications. And if it is seen that the RMC had not done the work well by not advising the internal evaluators to not submit, maknanya jangan submit, resubmit so that the applicant can do the corrections and then is returned to the evaluator. At UKM, when I evaluate internally at UKM, sometimes I will read 2 or 3 times before I say can submit. You know, so I don't know about UPSI, how you do your evaluation, but at UKM, I know most of the evaluators will ask 2 or 3 times before they agree to be submitted. And of course, there need to be 2 evaluators. At UKM, we have 2 evaluators. If let's say one person kata okay, the other person kata tak okay, we will get a 3rd evaluator. So then we will follow. Like 3rd person kata not okay, then we won't submit. We won't submit the application. The application is rejected at UKM level. Okay. So we have a percentage also, not much, but we do have a number of applications that do not go, that fail at UKM level. Okay. So please, so this is the responsibility of RMC, for the RMC to be careful with internal evaluation, to choose your evaluators properly, to train them so that they can help the applicants to improve their applications to KPT. Okay. Okay. And then also, Ruzy mestilah dinilai oleh dua orang panel dalaman yang berkelayakan profesor dan profesor mahir sahaja. So you cannot have the S52 as your evaluator. If you do and it is caught by KPT, terus TKO the whole bunch of applications. Okay. So kita panel perlu melihat semakan ada proses untuk masuk kriteria panel dalaman dan kemudian proses telah dibuat. Jika tidak, perlu ditolak dengan ulasan teknikal. Okay. So then RMC tak boleh lah. Let's say you got 2 evaluators and the evaluators put R, maknanya recommended. Lepas tu RMC tukar kepada highly recommended. If that is found by the penazir, itu pun akan dapat technical knockout and your university could be in big trouble. Okay, so there are many things there is this individual responsibility and institutional responsibility when you are submitting your proposal to KPT. Okay, be wise, don't plagiarize. Do not copy paste from previous failed proposals. Let's say you submitted one this year, 2020. Then you want to resubmit 2021. Now, dia ada semantic web where we can check similarity index. So let's say you submit the same thing, I suggest you change the wording of everything. Because if you don't, kita check the similarity index more than 30% terus kena reject, okay? So there is within FRGS punya system, within migrant tu ada turn it in. Okay? So don't copy from you want to resubmit your proposal, change everything. Change the wordings. Okay? And do not copy paste from other people's FRGS proposals because kita pun boleh trace. Do not copy paste or not copy paste. Do not copy paste from the internet. So everything don't copy paste because the system migrant is very clever. It can trace where you've copied it from. Okay? Right. All this. Okay. Now I will open for questions. So how do I start sharing?
Stop sharing je.
Stop sharing je, Prof.
Kat mana?
Klik stop sharing. Atas tu kan, ada kat atas ada tak? Dekat bahagian atas. Klik kat atas tu. Stop sharing.
Okay. Can you stop sharing for me ke apa? Oh, hang on. Okay. Stop sharing. Okay, alright. Okay. Okay, so
Okay, Prof. Terima kasih banyak. Kita buka kepada sesi soal jawab lah sekarang So kita ada lebih kurang 100 saya ingat dalam talian tadi. Okay, jadi kami buka kepada mana-mana pensyarah yang nak bertanya. Boleh on mic dan boleh terus ajukan soalan
Assalamualaikum Dr. Nurjan. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
My name is Putri Zarina from FPK UPSI.
okay.
This one of the criteria that you mentioned just now is the need for collaboration with the industry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm from the linguistics background, TESOL background, so most probably the one proposal that I'll be drafting for 2021 concerns language teaching elements. So what kind of industry, when you mentioned about the need to collaborate with the industry, what sprang to my mind was the need for me to perhaps establish collaborative networking with the education ministries ataupun education departments, because I'm planning to go and research about language experiences of vulnerable students.
So what's your topic again?
It's basically a framework.
Sorry, I cannot hear because it seems to be macam breaking. Basic needs for?
No, it's a framework.
Okay, maybe you can write in the note dekat dia punya ada chat kan. Okay, can you I can't
Dr. Putri mungkin write down dekat chat, Dr. Putri.
Okay.
yeah.
Baik, saya buat.
Okay. Sementara menunggu tu mungkin kita boleh buka lagi soalan daripada penyelidik. Okey, ni ada
Assalamualaikum.
soalan.
Prof.
Okey, sila.
Saya Sahul dari FSG.
Okay, Prof.
Baik. Boleh saya teruskan?
Boleh.
Boleh.
Boleh, Prof. Saya I'm from the Department of History.
Yeah.
Prof, are we allowed to apply the grant, the funding for developing an apps?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, no problem. Cuma, I think the for apps, sometimes a huge amount of your grant you will apply, you akan minta professional developer to pay, like you will ask the professional developer to do it for you kan.
Okay.
So they are worried that, the professional developer is doing the bulk of the work. So where is, what happens to that? For example, when you do an app is something that you need to update. For example, you have this app this year, 2 years from now, you need to update. Now, who will be doing the updating when you no longer have the grant?
Oh, okay.
So with app, if let's say you can work with somebody from Department of Technology and informatics ke, the IT, if IT person is in there, that means the bulk of your money is not spent for the professional designer to design it for you. They do not want like 30% of the money is going to this professional designer who will be doing the thing, and then so that's a problem with doing apps. A lot of times,
Prof, can you give us a tolerable amount of that funding to be paid to the professional developer? What is the tolerable amount?
Okay, you're all under the cluster that I'm in, okay, which is arts and applied arts. Now, to be honest, we are getting around, okay, this year tak ada orang dapat 100,000, okay? So we cannot, tak ada orang dapat 100,000. I think people think maximum about 80, I think. I don't know, anybody from UPSI yang dapat, I think maximum about 80. So you imagine, what sort of app can you do with something that's worth 80,000? Bearing in mind, you need to have your GRA, you need to pay for your publications, you need to do the research. So, you see what I mean? So, kita kena fikir. So, I think kan, bila you do, FRGS, dia kata situ ceiling 250,000, if I'm not mistaken. But, most of the time, we don't get the amount. You get, lately, last time, like 5 years ago, memang orang taruh the maximum ceiling. But now a lot of people are putting 50,000, 80,000, 100,000. So it's not that I want you to ask for lower. Tapi from my experience for many years, normally people don't get 250,000. You want that amount 250,000, you apply for TRGS and LRGS. Okay? Yang FRGS ni yang fundamental. Where you don't ask for that big amount. So for us, I think I think most people are getting around 80 to 100. 100 pun tak ada rasa. So you work within that budget lah. Because you will apply for somebody to design it for you is under V2900, okay? And under 2900, as I said just now, you need to pay for your, let's say you ada pakar rujuk, let's say you have to have statistician, you want to get somebody to come and talk to your group, you need to pay, and then designer pun you pay under that. You want to pay for publication also under that. So, so there's a lot of things under 2900, and I do not want you to break the ceiling. Sebab dia ada ceiling juga 2900 ni. Tak boleh macam 80% spend on 2900.
Okay, Prof.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Right. Yeah.
Okey, Prof, berbalik tadi kepada soalan daripada Dr. Putri.
Ya.
Kan tadi dia ada bagi tajuk untuk propose research dia. A framework for examining continuity in Malaysia rural students ESL reading experiences during primary to secondary transition. So dia kata, so I suppose the industry which I can collaborate with would be the education departments in the target areas for the data collection.
Okay. Actually, this one is reading during primary to secondary transition frame for rural students. Normally they do not like you to work with a department, macam umpamanya kita nak work with BPKI lah as our collaborator, tak boleh. Okay, so they would like it to be, for instance yang ni, if there is any apa tu, nation rural students reading experience. If let's say you work with an industry that focuses on reading, macam reading, let's say Kumon ke, I don't know, you know, that kind of industry that develops module, that one is okay. Okay, so that's a kind of because kan the thing is they would like as much as possible for you to, when you publish your paper, you are publishing with your industry partner. Okay, sebab sekarang ni another problem is ada satu jenis apa tu, kita punya, when we are ranked, ada satu ranking tu, our Malaysia on the whole, our marks are very low for publications with industrial partners. So sekarang ni, as much as possible, they want you to write, maknanya you taruh, you are working together. The person might not be writing the paper, but giving you ideas perhaps. So you put that person in your paper. Maknanya dia penulis lah, sebagai penulis bersama. So kalau macam education department tu, it's a bit hard. They would prefer industry. So you find any industry that, you know, in the case of siapa ni, Prof yang nak tulis, the write on the continuation from rural to urban, rural primary school children, with book publishers maybe. Okay, I can think of banyak reading materials yang, you know, that people are putting, Kumon for example, or phonic, you know, that kind of. So we work with an industry like that.
Okay Prof, macam kita kan dekat USI banyak yang untuk research education. So kalau collaboration tu diorang letak macam agensi kerajaan, macam tadilah education department ataupun sekolah, tak boleh diambil kira Prof Tak memang mesti nak industri betul-betul.
Because sekolah tu maybe your subject, but your partner. Yeah. Tapi yayasan maybe okay, macam yayasan, you know, like for example you work with yayasan apa tu, kurang upaya ke apa kan, or something, you know, yayasan, that's okay. I think we have lots of NGOs. NGOs. Yeah.
Okay, NGOs pun boleh lah.
Yeah, NGOs boleh.
Okey, ni ada soalan daripada Dr. Syakinas dekat chat ni. Salam Prof. Sekiranya pembetulan dilakukan mengikut komen penilai FRGS KPT, termasuk melakukan penulisan semula bagi mengelakkan copy paste, adakah peratus kejayaan mendapat geran itu tinggi? Maknanya dia dah buat betulkan balik, dia dah rewrite semua lah. Pembetulan pun dia buat ikut komen penilai KPT.
Saya rasa itu ada peluang untuk dapatlah peluang. Sebab saya dah tengok yang ada rakan-rakan saya di UKM yang hantar the same proposal 2-3 kali, kali yang ketiga dapat. Because dia buat banyak corrections. Tapi kita must be aware of the semantic punya itulah, yang jangan nampak yang kita ada high similarity index tu. Ya. Okay.
Okay, kita masih buka lagi pertanyaan daripada rakan-rakan. Okey Prof, untuk penilaian grant kan contohnya macam yang Prof terangkan tadi, kami di UPSI pun mengambil pendekatan yang sama lah. Maknanya penilaian tu mesti sekurang-kurangnya 1 kali dikembalikan kepada pemohon, kepada researcher tu lah daripada penilai. Ada yang sampai 2, 3, 4 kali pun ada lah. Okey, cumanya bila kita kan lantik 2 orang penilai sahaja, ada satu buat recommended dan seorang penilai lagi highly recommended. So kalau macam tu biasanya macam mana Prof?
kita orang akan ambil third penilai. Kita tengok siapa third, ada penilai sama ada RMC tu sendiri macam bos macam Prof Tajul ke melihat dia bagi recommended, ahli recommended, kita ikut yang tu lah, ataupun kita ambil seorang lagi penilai dan kita ikut apa dia penilai tu, bagaimana dia punya keputusan lah.
Penilai ketiga lah maknanya, ataupun tadi kalau kita pilih recommended atau highly recommended, kalau decided sama ada highly recommended pun boleh.
Biasanya kita akan, bila ada dua yang berbeza, kita akan ambil yang ketiga.
Tetap ambil ketiga ya?
Ya. Masa saya di RMC, biasanya saya jadi orang ketiga.
Okey.
Penilai ketiga.
Okey. Terima kasih, Prof.
Ya.
Okey, kita buka lagi. Cuma macam ada satu juga isu, macam penyelidik-penyelidik kita yang education ni, bila dia nak petakan, nak mapkan pada national priority areas tu, memang agak sukar sekali. Kebanyakannya letak macam biodiversity.
Ya, tapi
Boleh ke, Prof?
kita yang tu kita tak maknanya itu yang untuk kluster kita, kluster apa ni, domain kita untuk applied arts tu, itu tak penting lah. Itu tak apa, it's okay. As long as dia apa tu, yang lebih pentingnya yang tu lah, yang biasanya the first thing bila title tu, saya rasa title, tajuk tu sangat penting. Sebab di UKM pun ramai yang penyelidik yang muda ni, dia akan taruh aplikasi apa-apa, aplikasi out. So pay attention to the title.
Okey. So saya masih buka lagi kepada rakan-rakan. Okey, macam untuk tahun 2020 ni, untuk domain arts and applied arts ni, kita menghantar lebih kurang 67 permohonan untuk yang domain ini saja. Secara keseluruhan, UPSI hantar tak adalah banyak sangat. Kita terima 208 permohonan dan kita hantar yang dah maknanya approve peringkat universiti dalam 173 saja. Tapi domain arts and applied arts ni 67, daripada ini kita tak dapat banyak lah, Prof, yang berjaya. Hanya lebih kurang 15 saja daripada 67 ni. Lebih kurang 22% saja untuk domain inilah. Secara keseluruhan success rate untuk USI lebih kurang 30%.
Oh, okey.
Tapi untuk domain ini memang agak rendah sedikit.
Yelah, sebab memang apa ni, permohonan banyak. So penilai pun ramai. Tapi dia sebabnya bila penilaian tu dekat internal dah 2 orang, tapi di KPT tu orang je. So kadang-kadang ada jugalah yang apa tu, penilaian seseorang tu. Sebab seseorang tu dapat dalam sekitar 10-12 untuk menilai. Tak banyak lah, kita tak dapat banyak untuk menilai. But dia tengok, kita memang all the evaluators are trained. Jadi tapi kita tengok yang rubrik tadi tu. Kadang kalau metodologi tak clear ataupun something is wrong. Maknanya dalam setiap kotak tu, bila dia kata is the title clear, does the title show novelty? Kalau kita kata doesn't show novelty, then terus markah tu bila kita tulis tu 4 ataupun 3, that means the whole dari title tu dah out dah the proposal. Ya. So saya rasa mungkin kena ada penilai title kot di UPSI ni. untuk
menunjukkan yang betul-betul tu ada novelty, fundamental, bukan apply ni, Prof. Okay.
Ya, betul.
Okey, ada soalan lagi ni daripada
Adakah sama ada terdiri pada penyelesaian berbeza akan meningkatkan peluang? Dia tak semestinya. Yang meningkatkan peluang ialah penulisan grant yang baik. Yang baik dan menerobos sempadan. Dia kena, actually that is the main point. Dia tunjuk dia ada impact kepada negara ataupun negara ataupun or at least kepada community pun boleh. Impact pada community. You are solving problems. Dia tak nak kita buat research short sendiri, but it must be solving a certain problem for the community, for the country or for the world, kalau boleh. Macam itulah.
Okey, ada lagi soalan ni daripada Dr. Syakinas. Prof, adakah latar belakang ahli penyelidik boleh menyebabkan skor penilaian rendah?
Sebab tu saya kata kena isi migrant. Setiap ahli tu kena isi migrant sebab nanti penilai akan tengok klik satu persatu dia punya rakan-rakan yang dalam research tersebut. Kalau kita klik satu, especially tapi PI lah, dia punya principal investigator, kita klik, dia tak update. Umpamanya dia punya research masih, dia punya publication 2016. Padahal ni dah 2021. Dia tak update. Bukan dia tak ada, dia tak update. So, it's not the job of the penilai to check on Google Scholar or to check on Clarivate Analytics whether you got latest publication or not. You have to put in the migrants itself. Okay?
Okey, Prof. Okey, jadi nanti minta pastikanlah semua rakan-rakan kita update ya my profile dalam migrant tu. Profile dalam migrant.
Betul.
Okey, saya masih buka lagi soalan.
Saya ada satu video kejap ya, saya tunjuk video.
Okey.
Apa tu? Tengok video kejap. Oh, hang on. Tapi saya kena share dulu kan?
Kena share dulu, Prof.
Um, kat mana nak share? Susah.
Prof, boleh saya tanya satu soalan?
Ya, boleh. Sekejap, saya cuba. Oh, boleh. Sementara tu saya cari macam ni nak buat ni. Okey, boleh. No problem. Ya, apa dia?
Bidang saya sebenarnya, katakanlah saya ni bidang my expertise on Indonesian history kan.
Ya.
Kemudian research saya itu saya buat macam kajian mengenai hubungan Malaysia dan Indonesia. Katakan ada hubungan antara dua-dua itu. Adakah perkara begitu dibenarkan? Maksudnya ada hubungan dengan negara luar atau dengan ASEAN countries? Prof, tajuk-tajuk begitu je. Atau hanya Malaysia?
Boleh. Dia boleh buat pasal perhubungan tapi sama ada bila kita buat literature review dia nak tengok sama ada what are you saying? Are you saying macam umpamanya adakah you're offering a framework untuk perhubungan yang lebih akrab antara ASEAN? Umpamanya lah kalau framework sebenarnya belum wujud lagi. Maknanya whatever you're suggesting, produk yang whatever outcome you're suggesting tu tak ada lagi yang dibuat oleh orang lain di Malaysia ni. Penyelidik lain belum buat benda tu lagi. So, it's okay.
Okay, Prof.
Ya.
Jadi foreign policy ke atau human trafficking ke, boleh lah
Boleh. If let's say nobody has done it before, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Sekejap ya. Okay, what can you see on my screen lah sebab saya tak faham buat benda, tak faham guna Webex ni.
Okey, nampak Prof punya skrin tengah nak buka video FRGS video.
Boleh nampak tak?
Nampak?
Nampak my video
Nampak.
Okay, alright. So this is just a short video, less than 1 minute, but it tells you the important things you need to consider when you do your research. When you apply, when you submit your form, before you submit your form. Okay, that's it. Okey, tu sahaja pesanan saya untuk bersedialah. Saya rasa akan dibuka dalam masa beberapa minggu ni. Saya rasa biasanya kita mesyuarat, saya mesyuarat esok dalam mungkin New Year, dalam mungkin first week of New Year, second week New Year akan dibuka FRGS, so you can have this 2-3 weeks to think about. Dan biasanya dia buka saya rasa dalam 2 bulan saya rasa, tapi but the process of nak minta penilai baca semua tu, jadi mungkin you at the end of the day you may only have 2 weeks to do your work before submitting to RMC. So fikir sekarang lah, it's not good because you want your holiday, tapi mungkin kali ni saya rasa dia buka F dengan P sekaligus. FRGS dan PRGS buka sekaligus saya rasa. Tahun lepas dia buka, tahun ini dia buka F, P, L dengan T sekaligus. Pengsan.
Ya betul.
Ya.
So, maknanya tahun ni F dengan P je dulu, Prof.
Ya, kita kata jangan buat macam tu, kerja gila sebab penilainya
lega lah juga dengar.
Ya,
lega juga dengar.
Ya.
Okey, nampaknya kita pun dah tak ada sebarang pertanyaan lagi daripada rakan-rakan kita. Okey, so kita pun dah sampai kepada penghujung sesi ini.
Ya.
Mungkin sebelum kita mengakhiri, Prof Tajul ada apa-apa nak sampaikan, Prof?
Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Terima kasih yang bahagia Datin, Prof, Ruzy atas pengalaman dan juga sharing session lah bersama dengan UPSI. So hopefully that ni bukan kali yang pertama dan terakhir. So nanti insyaAllah RMIC akan buat susulan juga. Kalau ada kesempatan, mungkin kita boleh jumpa untuk datang bengkel ke berbengkel di UPSI. Prof pun lama tak datang Tanjung Malim, so Tanjung Malim UPSI dah ada hotel, so mungkin boleh stay di hotel kita dan mungkin kita boleh buat sebab kita ni universiti baru, bukan banyak pesyarah-pesyarah kita yang dahagakan bimbingan lah. Okay, mungkin dengan kepakaran yang Prof ada tu nanti boleh bersama-sama dikongsi dan kita akan aturkan lah bengkel untuk perbaikan ke proposal ke kan. So itu insyaAllah lah kita sangat-sangat perlukan lah the expert from RU's punya ikon ni kan. Okay Prof, sekali lagi bagi pihak RMIC dan UPSI, saya ucapkan ribuan terima kasih dan hopefully that akan ada networking yang berterusan lah Prof. Okay, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All the best everybody.
Okey, terima kasih banyak Prof Tajul. So kita dah sampai kepada penghujung sesi ya. So bagi pihak RMIC, sekalian penghargaan dan terima kasih kepada Prof Datin Dr. Ruzy Suliza dan kepada semua peserta diucapkan ribuan terima kasih kerana dapat meluangkan masa dan kami harapkan perkongsian ini dapat membantu kita semua untuk meningkatkan bilangan geran penyelidikan untuk permohonan FRGS 2021. Okey, saya rasa itu sahaja daripada kami untuk sesi pada petang ini. Saya sudahi dengan wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih banyak ya Prof, Prof Ruzy, Prof Tajul dan semua rakan-rakan yang dapat meluangkan masa pada petang ini. So harap tahun ini tahun 2021 kita dapat banyak permohonan lah daripada domain arts and applied arts.
InsyaAllah.
Terima kasih banyak ya Prof bantu kami. Okey Prof. Nanti apa-apa update Prof maklumkan pada Prof Tajul Okey, terima kasih banyak.
Thank you Pihak Dr. Nurjan and the team. Okay, terima kasih banyak-banyak. Thank you.
Terima kasih Prof.
Okay, terima kasih kepada semua pesyarah yang sudi melapangkan masa. So jangan malu dan segan, insyaAllah tim RMIC nanti akan bantu. So kalau ada apa-apa soalan ke, ada apa-apa yang masih grey area lagi, especially about migrant ke, sistem ke, so please do so untuk contact RMIC punya teams. So thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.